Hi, this is Rita Batchley, and I am the nurse's nurse, and I'm coming to you from beautiful Oregon City, Oregon. Nice little 20-minute commute from Portland, and here we are today. Going to answer the question what to do when you want to quit your job or quit nursing altogether. And I think that's a big issue right now, especially during the pandemic. People have been, well, nurses have been quitting in droves, and the rate of burnout, suicide, and just overall discontent is huge. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here and to be part of a live broadcast. I mean, this is just unbelievable that the technology is here, and I am on Facebook at the Nurse's Nurse Facebook page, my personal profile page, Rita Batchley. I am Rita Batchley, RN, and also on my Twitter feed and my YouTube channel. So all these different ways that I could reach out to you and help you figure out what to do when you want to quit your job. Now, for me, the first thing I want to do is congratulate you. Like, this is huge. Showing up and accepting that you have a problem is one of the biggest first steps you can ever take is acceptance, or actually awareness, acceptance, and then action. But number one, you're ready to quit and just say, I am so flipping done. Like, I can remember times coming home from my job feeling so undervalued and underpaid that I just felt like taking a job. Yeah, in fact, I did. I opened a coffee cart at the hospital because I just felt like, yeah, there's got to be something different. Just to, that's not as heavy as nursing. I mean, being a nurse is really tough. So showing up and figuring out what to do when you want to quit, that's huge. For me, I loved being a nurse. I was a nurse for 30 years. I worked in Ventura County. First, I moved to Paradise to be closer to my daughter, who was an adult living there, and it was a really far commute, and it was really hard to see my grandkids. So my husband and I sold our home in Ventura. I left my job and I went to Paradise, and the whole town caught on fire. And in one day, I lost my home. My daughter lost her home, and my hospital burned down. In fact, that's how I knew that the town of Paradise was in big trouble, because they started evacuating patients. And once I heard they were evacuating, I knew, this is bad. This fire is bad. We need to evacuate ourselves, even though the hospital was across the town, a good 5-mile drive. The smoke was everywhere, and we packed up and we left. And within 4 hours, me and 40,000 other people were homeless. And not only homeless, I was out of a job. But as a nurse, I knew I could always find another job, but I was just devastated. And I didn't know it at the time, but I had PTSD, and I couldn't. I realized I had to stop. I had to take care of myself. I was in shock. I needed to stop and slow down and figure out what I needed to do to take care of myself. So I got into some action. And again, that action today, you showing up here in this live Facebook feed, this live stream, to talk about what to do when you want to give up, when you want to just throw in the towel and stop being a nurse, and, throw out a comment. Tell me, say hi, tell me where you're from, and let me know what's going on, because that's what I'm here for today, to serve you and to let you know that showing up is a big deal, and giving back and being a part of. So being a nurse was my whole existence from the time I was 20 till the time Paradise burned down. I was 58 at the time, or 57 when the whole town burned down and my job burned down, and I was in shock. And a lot of the nurses had to go from the job where I was. They had to go find other jobs, but I was lucky enough to be able to stop and just let the dust settle and realize that I couldn't go back to doing what I was doing anymore because I was so damaged. And through a lot of therapy, EMDR, somatic therapy, and also step work with adult children of alcoholics, I was just like, just I could cry just thinking about it, because I had been given and giving and giving my whole life to being a nurse, but I didn't know how to receive that care and what I needed. I didn't know how to feel my own feelings, that I needed help. And that is what I wanted to talk to you about today, is that action of finding truth in my own brokenness. I couldn't think it away. I couldn't write it away. I couldn't work and distract it away. I had to feel it. And those feelings were just too much for me. And I knew that I had been protecting myself all those years of just being the warrior and showing up. And I knew how to take care of everybody else, but I didn't know how to take care of myself. And what I want to pass on to you is this concept of being your own nurse. Like, we go out and we take care of everybody, but we don't know how to take care of ourselves. And to be a nurse, and first of all, if you Google the word nurse, you're going to come up with a lot of breastfeeding stuff, because that's what nursing is. It's giving nourishment. And I find that giving that kind of nourishment, that kind of soul to healthcare is what makes a difference between a good nurse who knows her stuff. I mean, you got to know your skills. You got to go to school. You have to study. You have to have a mentor. You have to be precepted to be shown how to do your job as a clinician. But what separates you as a clinician to a remarkable nurse is care, being a caregiver. And being a caregiver is being able to care for yourself. You cannot give away something you don't got. And if you don't love yourself or care for yourself, you cannot give it away. So it sounds really simple, because it is, but it's not easy. Because in order to do that, to look up the word care and what a caregiver is and what caring means, is to be sensitive, being sensitive to what other people feel. So not only what your patients need, but what they're feeling. And I was always really good at that, at anticipating what other people needed and being really a good listener. But I also really, really cared about people. I remember this time when I was a student nurse, and I worked as a nurse's aide. And one of my friends, his mother was in the hospital, and she was really, really sick. She had surgery. And during my dinner break, I mean, you know how hard it is to take your break at a hospital. You're running and gunning from the time you set step foot in the door sometimes. But I took the time to go down and see her and just visit with her. So it was just something, it seemed like the right thing to do. It's that sense of caring. Did she need it? Is there empirical data that say, you need this? Well, maybe there's probably a study on that, like everything else. But that's what makes caring so hard. It's hard to measure. It's not something like we do in science, and you add a little this and you add a little that, and you have your experiment comes out. It's but it is the core. It's the core of who we are. And I see a like on there. Someone just liked, and but I'd love to hear more from people out there in the audience and your specific questions, what you have for the Nurse's Nurse. Maybe if I click on here, okay, and see different reactions or posts. And I wrote this back in 2014 about how to take care of. It's a nurse hero story. It's a novel, but it is fiction, but it does tell the story of a nurse who is having a major burnout session, and she is crashing and burning really hard. And she goes on to work with unions, and unions are out there and they want to help, and they try to unify us to give us power and strength. And I gotta say, the number one place to make money in nursing is California. And I got to plug the California Nurses Association, because without them, baby, I don't know that nurses would be making a living wage. In a lot of states, they aren't. And because of California Nurses Association, National Nurses United, we do have a better wage and a better way of making our profession what we want it to be, and driving our own policies and work in the way that we work, because it's frustrating out there. I know what I did when I wanted to quit was switched it up, try different areas of nursing. But as I get older and see what's going on with the pandemic and how the corporations own our hospitals and own the way that we practice, it's so hard to not become so disappointed or hopeless, to feel that hopelessness that how could we change nursing and make it great again? And the way that I found is to create this nurtured nurse. Well, it's already inside of us, inside of me. So I feel, and after I went to this holistic nursing conference, I learned about pranic healing and energy work, and I used it to clear a lot of negative and things that were just blocking me from being my best self. And I just wasn't content being at home. I wanted to give back. And that's why I keep working at this. And I want to keep doing this for nurses. And I'm going to keep showing up with different modalities for self-care. Being nurtured from the inside out is the solution of being this loving nurse and knowing, that what's good for me, and speaking up, learning to say things, and treating myself with respect teaches other people how to treat me with respect. And that means even, on a personal level and on a professional level. You want to grab a pencil and paper and write this down, come a little closer. And the nursesnurse.com, you can go on there and contact me and let me know some of your specific questions that you want me to answer on the live stream, or just come on in and I'll give you the answers on how to be your own nurse and how to create this community and the support that we need to take our nursing profession to the next level. Because healers, we need us. We need us. The nation needs us badly. That's how we create a great nation is caring people, loving people, and sharing that healing, because we all need help. We can't do this stuff alone. So I hope to do this next week. And once a week, I'm going to come back and live stream from thenursesnurse.com. I'm Rita Batchley, and take a moment to do one thing good for yourself, one thing that you've been keeping yourself from doing, even if it's just putting down your iPhone and taking a walk out in nature, reading a book, taking a hot bath, doing something to nurture yourself and enjoy that time with you, because there's nobody like you, and that is awesome. The Nurse's Nurse, and I'm signing out. Bye.